Hi, I'm Denise Dryden, and I'm here with Ashley Fraunheiser again. We're doing our first episode in the Diamond Frequency series, and we did an intro. So if you missed that, make sure that you go back and take a look at that, because that's where Ashley and I sort of play with all the things that are possible about this topic and what we want to talk about. Today, we're going to go very succinctly into defining what is a diamond, what is a diamond frequency, and so to start. If you followed I think we've done the Gen X series, we've done some other things together, you and I, Ashley, which, by the way, thank you so much for being here. I didn't even give you a chance to say hi.
Well, I'm so always grateful and excited to be here with you, Denise. This is an exciting topic. I'm really eager to get started with defining this frequency. So
Cool.
yes.
Okay. So if you've been following my videos or the conversations Ashley and I have had together, we talk a lot about HSP, highly sensitive, what sensitivities look like, where they show up, what it's like to parent them, what it's like to do relationship, with yourself, with your body, with your own energy system, to have levels of sensitivity, empathic skills, even energetic reactivity. So what we've been curious about exploring is this progressive frequency seeding within the human population since the mid to late 70s, which is with the indigo frequency, which is the frequency of truth, right? That defiant, rebel, obstinate, ODD kind of personality going into the crystalline in the late 80s, early 90s, which was seeded with the vibration of love through Venus, right? So the crystal, you think of how crystals expand and grow, and they hold the essence of water in a crystallized form, right? And so they came in as neurodiverse. They came in as changing the entire institutions and systematically, and they're all at about 35 at the oldest right now. And then the third is the rainbows that came in between 2002 and 2005. So they only came in for four or 5 years, period. And they're the blenders. They're the ones who hold all of the colors of the spectrum. And they take the both and put it into everything. So we've started to see some of the separation, some of the duality sort of falling apart with the presence of this really powerful, very small cohort group. Now, when we're talking about these frequencies and these sensitivities, then we have the diamond, and this is not a diamond, but it is such a radiant stone. So I'm just going to hold it out and sort of say, so then we have the diamond. Now, the diamond is not what I would call sensitive. As opposed to empathic, I would say intuitive or completely aware at all times, and telepathic. What else would you say?
Well, the diamond frequency itself, much like for those of you, I'm sure a lot of people, if you're watching this, you probably, have more of, or it might be your first time. So if it's your first time or not your first time introducing yourself to the world of metaphysics and esoteric studies, magic, and just beautiful, subtle energy work, a diamond, if you were looking at it from, let's say, a person who works with crystals, okay, a diamond has been traditionally used in working with crystals as a gem that is an amplifier, but is kind of defined more as something that is considered invincible, completely indestructible, pure, connecting, heart connection, the ability to have this, unconditional love be spread. So aside from those couple of things I just listed, there are a lot more that we can go from as we're going to
go through and talk about about the actual diamond. Yeah.
Right. So looking at the diamond physically, all right, a physical gem, a diamond is what it is made up of. Okay, so a diamond is all carbon. It's 99.5 or 95% carbon, which is considered to be pure element. So a diamond equals a diamond because carbon is carbon. Okay, there are 8 carbon atoms in a diamond that bond, and they're isometrically bound together. And an isometric Yeah, it's an isometric bond. I am not a chemist nor a geologist, so please
I was
forgive me.
looking up half of the stuff you were talking about and going, okay, I get it now. Thank you, Ashley.
I finally get it. This is such a
Oh,
rain moment.
bond is, right?
First time in my life, I was the worst chemistry student. My teacher, Mrs. Wampler, she just would shake her head at me. I found like this information. This is how I became a physicist. Like I understand physics and chemistry now because of this beautiful frequency of beings that's on Earth and through working and whatever. So anyway, so there's eight carbon atoms that are isometrically bound in a, I just sounded super Philadelphia. I was like isometrically bound, isometrically bound in a covalent bond, which is the strongest type of bond. Now,
which two sort of parallel, like fighting and attracting and pushing against. So that strength is impermeable because they bind together. So
right,
has okay.
That's indestructibility. And for those who may or may not have any knowledge, you know that diamond is the hardest substance known on Earth. They measure at a 10 on the Mohs scale, which is the highest measurement. So the only ones meaning preceded only by sapphire, which is a 9, and then I think there's another one in there. Like
sometimes they put ruby up there, but I don't know if rubies are as tough as sapphires are. But
not
sapphires
quite
in one notch below, which the sapphires are the indigos.
Right.
Sapphire codes, yeah.
So it's really good that we mentioned the indigos right now, because the indigo, the sapphire, we'll use the rocks, the crystals to describe the frequency, so that for those of us who need that, it can really make sense. Okay, so a sapphire is thermogenic in its state. It's dependent on the thermogenic energy. Okay, so if you take a sapphire and you put it in like a higher temperature, a lower temperature, it absorbs. Okay, diamonds are not thermogenically charged or energized in any way. They're kinetically, meaning internally they are what they are. Put them anywhere. Put them
Go ahead.
Totally sealed, like Denise just said, they're totally sealed equally. They have diamond, the actual physical gem diamond, is they expand like this is an octahedron. This is what they look like when they come out rough. Okay, so they come out in 4 separate directions. Okay, each way.
Sides on the top and the bottom. Yep. On
the top and the bottom equally. So if there's no like big left or small right, it's like equal equal expansion on all directions at the same time. It completely does it at its own pace. Okay, and it's equal pace. And so it will grow, and it grows like with the looks like an octahedron, which if you're familiar with platonic solids, the octahedron is associated with the element of air, which makes sense because this particular this diamond frequency that we're working with is from it is because it's kind of, it's in the air.
Not from this planet. It's
not from this. Thank you. That's what I mean. This is
from
the
this
star.
planet.
This is actually the element of star.
Yeah.
The diamond frequency is the star element, which is light and the stars. Okay. Yeah. So diamond is associated with light, the actual, not necessarily the air, but light. Okay. So diamond light is pretty amazing, but a diamond to look at, even when it's raw, if you get some of that dirt off, it looks amazing. You don't even have to like polish it to make it look good. So like this frequency, this is a little, these are jars I make for like my practice, and I also play with them with the kids and stuff, but they're just like sensory glitter jars at first, but then I have this one that actually I have raw diamonds in this particular one. And this is kind of, if you notice that pulsating, this is what the energy looks like when it comes in. So if you're thinking about how do I access diamond energy, this is a very good kind of visualization, this tube of light that's just going up and down. And I'll shake it around one more time to maybe keep it going a little bit just by this beautiful reflection. and how you see how things are just moving through, but that light, that pulsing light is staying right in that same spot and just going
Right
up
down
and
that core center where maybe even as they talk about when the chakras are blended into a solid white column, then we are a reflectory of just pure white light pulsing just like that.
And just like the description of the gem, if you use it, esoterically, metaphysically, spiritually, a diamond is the chakra opener to allow for the light to come through, especially the top, the top, what am I talking about? I think it was my first day. The the upper chakras, thank you.
The crown, the upper chakra,
Crown,
yeah.
the third eye into the pineal gland. Think of the diamond, okay? How they say that, the pineal gland is similar to this glittery pine cone, or that's crystallized in the center of your brain. Okay, if you find yourself kind of from that point, the third eye, like straight to the middle, kind of thinking of it like when this comes down through, it kind of catches into your pineal gland, which if you ever are wondering if you'd like to open or maybe perhaps like do some energetic subtle decalcification of your pineal gland, bring in the diamond frequency, have it go straight down through the top of your crown, just like this, okay? And bring that down, and then you will notice that there will be this very beautiful, like just opening. And it's obviously it's much like this looks like. It comes down.
Dynamic, it moves from top to bottom, bottom to top. Yep.
It's dynamic. It's not just, and because it's dynamic, it's not just conical, and it's not just what is that, a serpent?
It can go serpent
toroidal
down. It can actually crisscross and do this. What it is, it's
toroidal,
energy
spherical, spherical, toroidal, meaning like the torus energy, the spinning in all directions, creating this very beautiful funnel of light. Now back to the gem. So here we are with a diamond energy. Just talked about a sapphire, okay? Sapphire, much like the indigo, that's the stone will associate with indigo, is the one that can sense. The sapphire senses, can absorb. It does.
And blend. It has to be able to blend in. Sorry, just want to make sure I got that one in, because they have to be able to fit in, even though they don't know how.
Thank you for saying that, because that's so perfect.
Yeah.
Even though they don't know how, they have to be able to fit in. The diamonds do not fit in because they are not in any way meant to fit in, because they just are what they are. Okay. They are not charged by anything but their composition, which is carbon. Human beings have 18.6% carbon in your physical makeup, okay? So this energy is something that we can begin to bring out within ourselves, because we already have it physically. The physical diamond in the earth, when they find diamonds, that's not where the diamond formed, by the way. Didn't form in like the crust of the earth, okay? Formed like it's measured. If you look into geologists and stuff, and I'm not claiming to be one, nor do I claim that this is not any kind of medical or any kind of, advice in any way. This is simply for the sake of sharing this beautiful information. Exactly. So, when it forms, it's because it was brought up to the mantle, which is then brought up into the earth's crust and mantle from the core of the earth. Okay. Now, the diamond frequency, which we discussed last episode, the introduction to this little series here we got going on, the diamonds offer, the diamond frequency beings that have come in, started to show up like around,
2008.
They started to show about 2008. They started to come a little bit more like between very sporadic, okay, up until they're still kind of sporadic. They're coming more and more. You're going to see more and more of these kids who were, for lack of a better word, are not conditionable. And that makes sense if you look at the diamond composition chemically and elementally itself, because they are not subject, diamonds, the gem, are not subject to condition.
No,
So
they're
it get as hot
genetically
as you want.
stable, and there's nothing that they need in order to sustain themselves, and they're taking us forward. So I want to put one piece of context in here, which kind of like, why are these two ladies talking about diamonds? Like, what does it matter? You just wove it so perfectly together. The diamond is a piece of a star. The star card is the Aquarian card. The Aquarian card represents the future energetic destiny of the human, of Earth and humankind. So bringing these diamond children in and having them at 100% kinetically stable, affecting those of us who are at 18, what, 0.6 kinetically stable. And they're teaching us, and because they are amplifiers, they're showing us in our cellular system and our energy fields how to become more diamond-like. That doesn't mean this process is going to be fun or easy. It means that that's the future and that's where we're going. So I just wanted to tie that Aquarian into the Aquarian age where we're going, and it's air.
And
I mean,
it's
it's
air.
just so perfect the way you crisscrossed it all.
I mean, look, think of it as whatever you want, but like you can't like make that. So what, like that's so beautiful. And also if you want to go into it, like thinking about, if you look at the star card, like in any, not any tarot deck, of course, but some of the more, I don't want to call them generic, but like widely spread, you're going to see that reflection of the below in the water with the maiden, she's up there, she's pouring,
Also carrying the water. She's carrying
the water. She's the Aquarian. And thinking as we're going into this age of Aquarius, we are going to need this new up-leveled, frequency that we can now begin to embody. This is not something you can take from, because you're not going to you can't take from a diamond. No. You're just going to, you can't, because good luck cracking it. You'll need, you can't even, this is the hardest substance. The only thing that can scratch it is another diamond. Okay. So they drill into the mantle of the earth with diamond tips. It is said that the emerald and sapphire tablets were the only thing you could use to inscribe into them was a diamond. So yeah. Just understand that and take that into account, because though these beings haven't been on earth in a physical earth suit in a while, or maybe at all, they probably were very well, I can tell you they were here more in a light body prior to. So their earth suit is going to be very very cohesive. However, it's going to take a little bit of time to because everything has to be exact, just as a diamond forms exactly in all four directions. Yep. These children, you will see, if one thing happens, that means it happened completely. Okay. So if they start to, let's say, learn to use a pencil, they will not just learn to use the pencil in the right hand. They will also learn to use it in the left hand. You will see some ambidextrousness, because they are like this. Their peripheral vision is excellent. Their hearing is excellent. Their sensing of the environment, their sensing of people's auric field, biomagnetic, bioelectric field, whatever you want to call it, subtle energy field, is they will share it with you if you are at a position to receive it. They give only when the recipient is in a position to receive it. Yeah. Understand that as a parent to one, or as a person who might come in contact with them, if you receive from them, you will receive it 8.0, because that is their number, 8. So you have all these beautiful spectrum. Think of them as kind of like they're cutting through the spectrum in a whole new way, because a diamond, like I said last time, that was given to me, this beautiful information, when you look at it, a diamond on earth makes a rainbow, and a rainbow really is a diamond in the sky.
Mhm.
So how can we have these rainbows? Well, this diamond frequency's been here a long time, and it was at the core of the earth. The core of our vibration is at our heart. So Archangel Gaia had something, cooking in there for
Yeah.
a real long time. And now as it's surfaced, yes,
Mhm.
and as it begins to move, think of the diamond making its little transition from volcanoes and earthquakes and all sorts of stuff, getting up there. And it finally is something that can be visible and palpable and sentient in this way. The work that's been done on this planet to raise this vibration of love and everything that's come before, we're grateful for those aspects, or we're grateful we don't need them any, we've moved into where we are now, so that this diamond frequency can be held and they can take their time embodying the body. So there will be a little bit of extra time with that, just like it takes a long time to have a diamond get to this thing.
Mhm.
This frequency embodying will be done exactly. It will be precise. It's lines like a diamond's cleavage. Okay, I'm not being whatever. It's actually
I saw that. Yep.
cleavage, meaning the separation of the two equal parts in theory. When it forms this beautiful octahedron, roughly, it's
Mhm.
exact. That's how geologists they can actually cut along the cleavage of a diamond, because it's almost an exact it's the only way you'll get in.
Well, it's
You can't.
pure. And one of the things that we talked about is it stores so much. You got a black cat tail going behind you. That's pretty cool. Or a dog.
I do my dark, my black, my dark dog. Oh, we love a good. I love
You
Happy
got it.
Tay is always with me. We love it.
That's cool.
My dog, which is probably, her name's Luna, and it's almost a full. We're getting close to the full moon. We'll let her go. What you were.
What I wanted to say is that they are total comprehension of all resources, all elements, all everything. So the word that came up was that they hold genius. They hold the energy of genius, which is interesting because just yesterday you were like, I needed to find the word genius, and you and I hadn't even talked about this. So I've got this down here, and I'm thinking genius. They hold the energy of genius. And what did you find out from genius?
Well, genius originates in like the Roman and the Roman Greek,
Mhm.
means the spirit embodied, like the full spirit, the Adame, like that. Adame or Adamos is the Greek word for diamond. So thinking of, and that what it actually means is I tame and I subdue. Okay. Diamonds cannot be tamed. They
Mhm.
tame.
Mhm.
Okay. So when you are fully in your genius, you are like going to not subdue or tame in like a pejorative way. You are going to completely just embody and be guided by, that's the point, guided by like your spirit,
Yeah.
whatever that light is designed for it. So you had said, Denise, genius of like you said, movement, like when the spirit is fully guided in doing this. So this is their geniuses, and they truly are, because what they can notice in whatever area their spirit guides them to, which might be a lot of different things, because they are purists and they see what's actually there. And this quote, I heard this yesterday. It was so beautiful, and it's old, but I was listening to this beautiful this poet. He was giving a talk, and on, I think it was the Portal Presents with Lee Harris. Yes, that's what it was a Lee Harris. It wasn't. So this man, and I'll put it in the notes, his name I can't remember, but he quoted Nietzsche in his later years. The quote was, it's I want to learn more and more how to see the necessary as beautiful, so that I can be one that makes life beautiful. And that really rang to me, because what is necessary, interchange that word with essential.
Mhm.
What is essential is beautiful, and what is essential is only seen by the heart. What is essential is invisible to the eyes. That's my little prince. So I was able to put the two together to say like, yes, that is what it is. They're here to make life beautiful, to help amplify what is essential. Like that's
within
what's
us.
possible within us. And that's there. What you see is what you get. What you see is what you get. There's not, and it's what you get. So what you see is beautiful, and the vibration that they put off. I've never met a person that doesn't like a diamond. Ever meet somebody that's like, oh, that's hideous? Never. I mean, I'm sure maybe somebody would be a contrarian and maybe say, I don't like them. No, I don't know. They're captivating, they're enamoring, and they do have a presence about them. Yes. Just for what they are. And that's what these types of being in these children that are coming in now are presenting. Now, and they have multidimensional abilities because they can be in any kind of environment and not absorb in the same way. Yes, they do get, they can get some stuff on them, but you can clean it up.
Good.
Okay. So what we'll talk about more next time with this frequency, okay, is kind of the parenting and a little bit more of like the abilities that they do have. But we'll leave you with this. Should you feel like you have, or you know, a diamond child, they're coming more and more, you may see them presenting as neurodivergent or not. Let's, for the sake of this conversation, we'll lean this more towards those who are seeing maybe some, why is my child conditionable? Oh, well, a diamond is thermogenically not affected. Okay, so we can't, they aren't conditionable. These kids are combing their hair with forks like Ariel. They are, because they don't know what it's for. Like, they don't come in with,
they don't want to know. They don't want to match what we've been doing. They don't want to be imprinted. They don't want to be programmed. They don't want to be conditioned. They can't. It just slides right off of them. And then you're going like, evidently, like I've tried with my 2.5-year-old granddaughter to make suggestions like, you know, striped purple tights and, you know, like that top. What if we put this? And she looks at me and she goes, stop. And I'm like, wow. Okay. Yeah,
it's stop. A word. I get stopped too.
Yeah, stop, grandma. And I go, that's right. She's going to do what she's going to do. It's just so beautiful to see that autonomy, that intelligences, the dimensionality, the genius in form, and realize that the more time we spend with them, the more part of, Susie Miller does a really good process with the spherical technology where you bring something in and then you watch the pieces, or you can feel or witness the pieces of you that aren't in alignment with that fall off. And when they fall off, you know, she has a process for picking them up and taking care of them, right? But realizing we as humans, in order for us to expand that carbon base and to become more diamond-like, there are going to be a lot of parts of us that are going to fall off. I'm wondering if that isn't what's happening now as we're crunched with the flares and the geomagnetic storms and these astrological events that are just igniting even more of the diamond energy in the diamonds on the planet, which is making us feel uncomfortable in our own skin and hard to sleep. There's just so much to this that we
it's so cool. And if you have a child and you happen to follow like the Schumann resonance or the solar flares, and you might think, oh, maybe I do have, maybe my child, you know, kind of came in with this, you know, I always, before my youngest child was born, Mackie, I knew he was going to be different. And I was given a lot of information prior to, and it is pretty cool because, you know, that he would come in and he was not going to have the things weren't going to, like, it was going to be a whole new way, but not in like, it was going to fall into place. Everything was going to fall in. And I got a little sidetracked. I was trying to make a really great statement right now, and I can't remember what it was, and it just flew out of my head. So perhaps it will come back. Oh yeah, if you notice your child is maybe might seem to have this frequency, or maybe, you know, just curious about it, you can, and it was right there, and this was a really, really good one, and it'll come right back in a second. Oh yeah. If they're not talking, okay, or you have concern, start singing.
Mhm.
Start singing. If they make a sound, which they all do because they all cry, they have a voice, so they have the ability to vocalize.
Mhm.
This is a whole new way of saying, instead of calling somebody, labeling them and negating them, as Kierkegaard said, start to think in terms of the multidimensionality of ourselves. Think this is inspiring us to be creative, okay? And also this is something that Susie talks about as well. Inspires us to be creative for the sake of creating alone. And this is something that I am, please, if you're looking for someone to help you with this process, you look for Denise, check out Susie Miller. She's as well. Denise will put the stuff in there. My information's in there. However, like, start to sing, start to speak with them telepathically. Notice the images that come to mind, okay? Because one thing that is pretty clear is that you're not, and when they're little, you can do that. And we're conditioned to not do that because, oh, that's weird. It's not, it's our purest form. And they do have a voice. So sing instead of talking. If they have a weird way, like,
Hum with your voice, like
absolutely.
and hum your songs, or hum your the dialogue that you would say out loud, and they do exactly what you just hummed to them. They hear it.
Exactly. And I knew, because when Mackie was little, like, before he was 2, when he was 2, and these are well-intending people telling me that my child would never speak, which is completely not the case. He sings and he has a vibrato opera voice, and he was just in here saying hi to Denise. He's the most engaging thing, because I didn't do it. I didn't listen because I knew I had this knowing, because I just knew, I'm like, he can cry. He could cry. So of course he can talk. His first word was Ama. And I didn't realize that until I was like, Ama is the mother. It's like a universal mother, Ama.
Yeah.
And ha, 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 ha. And he learned to read in about 5 minutes when he was 1. And then he learned to read in other languages, and he knew symbols before
Yep.
he knew, like, oh, that's a yin yang. Oh, hi, Sirius. Oh, that's, the earth, like, just out of nowhere. And so bringing in some of these more, let's just say, these aspects, like what Denise and I are going to share more about as well, like, bring it in, be silly, have a good time. Let your play
with all of this, because we have to be creative in ways that we form connection, or get curious and interact. And the play is where everything changes.
Yeah. And then then you have to play too. And you have really no choice but to get into it. These are magical amplifiers. These are magical beings. And this is what I mean. This is my point. When Mackie was born, I was like, I would never followed Star Wars. He watched it when he was like 3, and he watched it like he was watching like Lullaby or something. He was just like, oh, like watching the Jedi, things like that. And then I was like, he's like that little tiny Yoda. He's like the child. That pace, think, if you are familiar with Star Wars, think the baby Yoda, okay? He was 50, okay? And he knew exactly what he was doing, but he looked really little. Their process at times, if they present more with neurodivergence, okay, the process is coming. It's just doing it like a diamond, very, very specifically, with that equal distance. And also, if you look at their birth charts, and I'm starting to kind of develop my own little secret study here.
Good.
They're really balanced in all. They're balanced. They don't have fans like me. They don't have stelliums and Scorpio like me either. Thank God for the world. They don't have, the triple 50 million Pisces like Denise, thank God, either. It's
Jeez. They're balanced. And
they're very balanced.
Balanced in intelligence, balanced in dimension, balance in purpose, and unwavering. and
And
bring you to our earth. And that's, and when we're talking about frequencies, we're talking about invisible,
mhm,
not, you can't control them, you can't shape them. They just simply, it's kind of like saying, I need to change the way that my heart sounds. You're like, well, I can make it speed up if I run, but it can't change the way that it sounds. And so this concept that the earth has been seeded very specifically with a progressive set of frequencies, and that this beautiful genius frequency is now here. That's what we want to talk about all the time.
the and the 8 to cut through that spectrum, create the octave,
Yep.
the full octave, the 8
Mhm.
of everything. So it's very exciting. And if you are a parent to one of these children, no one, or grandparent, friend, aunt, teacher, you are, please see this as an opportunity to connect with magic that you so longed for, maybe when you were a child. Here it is. It's a gift. It's beautiful. It's like you, here it is. Like it's you are being given an absolute treasure, so that you, and if they come in contact with you, you will know. Okay. And you will have and if you're in charge of their guidance of day to day, of a parent or a teacher or anybody, be prepared to have your way that you thought you were going to do it. If we can give you anything to leave you with as a disclaimer, just put it down, because we're not using that. You're going to use your heart, okay, and your
Field.
field.
Your
And now
field.
you have permission to, an invitation to get with it, because you're going to open up. And when you start to open up, it's like a fraction of what they're like, just on a day-to-day basis. Okay. And so those little tiny things, you're going to be like wowed by, but like, there's so much more to come. And we're here and we can handle this, because they're here and they work really well. So don't be dismayed if they, and don't, and please do yourself a favor. There's nothing wrong with them. They're not problems to be solved. They're beautiful. You're just going to get a chance to be creative for the sake of, and the ideas will land. You'll start to get them, and then you'll go with them.
They'll send you the ideas. They'll tell you what they need. They're here to be witnessed, and
Mhm.
and they're here to be played with, from a
Mhm.
very honored, like, I just remember it's kind of like, yes, there they are. And I see one in a grocery cart, it's like,
Oh yeah.
oh, hello, and
Uh-huh.
expanded. Thank you.
Mhm.
This was
Thank you.
fabulous.
Have
So there's
I
content. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
thank you guys so much. And if this is something that aligns with you, continue to watch these, because these are kind of like, this is very new. And I really think that, actually, I know it's designed to be helpful for those who this comes in contact with. So bear with us, and as we put this out, because it is new. And at the same time, a lot of people are starting to notice these same types of things, which then gives validity and credibility to this to what we're speaking about. And like we said, if you don't like it, that's fine, but there really isn't anything not to like here. We're not talking about anything other than this beautiful this beautiful energy. And when you look up at the night sky, if there's no clouds, I mean,
There's
if you've
thousands
ever
of
been looking, who's looking up and like is singing to the stars every night, hoping for something? Where do we pray? Like, this is from the heavens. This is the glory of the heavens and the magnificence of the universe, the splendor of fire and the central suns, the radiance of the moon, the magic of the rainbow, the cosmic Christ light in the ether, the depth of the sea, the swiftness of wind, the power of thunder and the speediness of lightning, the beauty and strength in nature, the stability of earth and the firmness of rock. Okay, that's what you've got.
And they chose you. They chose us as grandparents, as mothers, as teachers, as educators, as counselors, as anything. They're here to find us, and we're here to help them. So thank you.
Thank you.
There's a description down below. Like and share this, pass it around, have some discussions. And if it gets to the point where you have 2 or 3 people talking and going like, well, we need more information, drop us a note, put a comment in the video and let us know what you want to talk about, because we're ready to just bring this in whatever form it needs to. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.